I've been playing the Battlefield series since the original installment, Battlefield 1942, and I really love the series. But I had been playing less games for a while and I kind of lost interest in the series and multiplayer shooters in general. Then I picked up Battlefield 4 and it was buggy and it crashed all the time and it was beautiful and it was perfect and I loved it and I couldn't stop playing it for 2 weeks. It would just crash, I would hit OK, I would relaunch the game and just get back in. I got up to level 15 on PC, then all my friends got it on PS4 and I just started all over again. Despite all the problems, Battlefield 4 gets in my top 10 because it reminded me why I love this series so much. I'm a big fan of co-op games, especially local co-op games, but it's always such a pain in the ass to get a bunch of people together to play at the same time. But with Monaco, once somebody's seen the game once, it's really easy to convince them to play again. So I sat down with my friends and we played through the story, and the result was some of the most fun that I've had not only in a video game, but just with my friends all year.
Oh, you just didn't even try. You just didn't bother.
Something that always comes up in talking about stories in games is how the gameplay affects the story, or how this story wouldn't be good if it was a movie. Well, Papers, Please is a perfect example of a game that wouldn't, shouldn't, and definitely couldn't be made into a movie. Much like Cart Life, you're not only playing a game where the mechanics perfectly represent what your character would be doing, but it also makes you feel the same frustration that your character would be feeling in that situation. It's by no means a fun experience, but it's also one of the most interesting experiences that you can have in any video game. I'm not really into puzzly adventure type games, but I heard great things about Device 6, so I picked it up. I started playing it on the way to work, between stops, picking it up and putting it down, so I didn't get super into it, but I was really interested in it because of the great visual design and the great sound design as well. Then one day I just wanted to show the game to a friend of mine, and suddenly 2 hours later we hadn't moved, we're surrounded by notes that we've scribbled down on rolled receipts and napkins because we were furiously going through the puzzles trying to figure out what happened to poor Anna. Easily 2 of the most memorable hours of gaming that I've had all year long. If you've been paying attention, you notice that I really like games where you can sit down and marathon through them like a crazy person. That's what I did with Gunpoint. The levels are short, the game is short, the whole thing is funny, the puzzles are fun to figure out, the gameplay is really fun. It is just a good game, period. If I had categories for these games, this would be the best reason to leave your computer running at work for days on end award. Candy Box may not have directly inspired Cookie Clicker, but it was my first experience with leaving my computer on for days to rack up some seemingly meaningless virtual items. It's also one of the few games that everyone I sent to started playing it even if they weren't into games already. If you haven't played it, give it 10 minutes of your time. It's weird, it's fun. I have a confession to make. I may have stopped working one day to hide out and finish the last hour of Brothers. Not only is this a great game that uses a weird control mechanic that grabs your attention, but there's something so perfect about how nobody really knew about this game until it was already out. With no trailers to spoil it, the only thing anyone could do for a while was try it out for themselves. And that's the perfect way to go into this story about 2 brothers exploring a strange world. I enjoy picking up things in games and getting more information on the character and world of a game, but eventually I get frustrated when there's too many audio logs or they're too hard to find or I just want to get back to shooting. Gone Home strips away everything else and just gives you a place to explore. I wouldn't want every game to be like Gone Home, but I'm glad there's at least one game like it. This is another game that you just have to sit down and experience for a while. Rather than not release a trailer, they released a series of trailers that basically gave no information about the game and openly mocked people who didn't like the original mod. Then they built an entirely separate demo just so you could get an idea of what the game is without spoiling any of it. The Stanley Parable is easy to put on this list because there's nothing else quite like it out there.
Please step into the dance perimeter. Please perform a dance. Your dance has been recorded.
Yeah, big surprise, I know. I love The Last of Us. I saw the announcement trailer during the 2011 VGAs and I thought it looked amazing. I refused to watch any trailers for the next 2 years and I'm glad I didn't. I sat down and marathoned through the game in the next 2 days and I loved every minute of it. That's why this game is on my Game of the Year list, because I set incredibly high expectations for it and somehow it surpassed them. Even when I finished the single player, I wanted more of the game, so I checked out the multiplayer mode, and to my surprise, I loved it, and I found myself going back to it months and months later and still enjoying the hell out of it.
Must have been nice.
And an honorable mention goes out to Tactical Intervention for introducing the idea of supercar fun. If they made an entire game just like that, it would surely be my game of the year.
You just ran me over. Damn you.
Yeah, I thought I'd make a video about the colour red, because I saw everyone else doing it, all the popular people on YouTube, and I thought I could get loads of views if I made a video about the colour red. So I just uploaded 7 minutes of me talking over the colour red, saying things like, "Oh, that's a nice shade of red," and "Oh, I like red."